Scaling an e-commerce business can be difficult. You have Facebook account bans, high Google CPCs, and in general, sometimes you saw it's just Q1 until Q3 is struggling and just Q4 is working pretty well. And in this video, we will talk about how you can scale up your e-commerce business with the power of native ads. Hi everyone, my name is Marcel Sattler. I'm the founder of PurpleBlack, a native advertising only agency. So what we're doing on a daily basis is we run profitable performance marketing campaigns on native advertising platforms like Taboola, Outbrain, Yahoo Gemini, and many more. And a lot of our clients are e-commerce clients, so they have their own Shopify store or whatever, and they are selling things online. The good news is when you sell things online, it's very easy to track because you have in a native advertising funnel the ad and advertorial. I will come later to that. And then you have a Shopify page and the purchase. So you have the direct conversion very clearly. And the good news here is with native, you can usually scale your e-commerce business very quickly. But native is not for every e-commerce business. So in this video, we will talk about all the details. We'll dig into the topic about how you can scale up, how you can use native ads to get more profits, more revenue, and outbeat your competitors. Before we jump in, let's talk about native ads in general. I'm pretty sure you know what native ads are. So native ads are those little ads on the bottom of, for example, news pages after you read an article. And usually it's like more, or you might be interested in this topic or in this topic. And the good news here is you as an e-commerce owner or you as a marketer, you might know that these are advertisers. But in general, you know, the majority of people doesn't know that these are ads. So the good news here is people don't feel advertised. For example, the traffic platforms are speaking here from the moment of next because people are, for example, in reading mode on a news page. They're reading an article and now they still have time, so they still search proactive for the next topic. And here native ads comes into the game. So the thing is, people scroll down to the bottom of the page and they're searching for topics which they're interested in. So it's absolutely non-disruptive. And the good news here is people actively dig into a topic. So for example, if you're selling something against knee pain, and people have knee pain and they see an image and the headline with something curiosity inside, you know, like this genius device could heal knee pain in just 10 minutes. So it's a scammy headline, I know. Sorry for that, but just to make it more visible. So people who are not affected by knee pain, they will not click into it. But people who are affected with knee pain, they will definitely dig into it and jump to the next step. And when we talk here about these providers of native advertising, we are mostly talking about Taboola and Outbrain. Taboola and Outbrain are the largest companies in native advertising. In general, native ads is a general term. So when we talk about Facebook ads or Google ads, we're talking about ads of one big company, which is, for example, Meta or which is Google. But in this case, we are talking about a bunch of different companies. As mentioned already, Taboola and Outbrain are the largest ones, but of course there are also many, hundreds of different native advertising traffic sources. Some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, some of them are local, some of them has a specific niche, like for example just for traveling or for gambling. And you have at least multiple hundreds of different traffic sources. So the good news here is that you're not directly bonded to one platform, so you can scale up with multiple platforms, which means you have a lot of security. You don't have to worry about account bans or something like this, and you have the maximum stability because you're using different networks, which is in general super secure, and therefore many businesses love native ads. But not just because of this. There are also some other reasons which we'll talk later in this video. So now we talked already about people are scrolling down at news article pages and then they come to the bottom of the page and then they see the ad, and after the ad they are usually coming to a page which is named editorial. So that's a landing page which looks like an editorial, but of course it's copywriting here inside, and you usually use storytelling to sell people your product. And you know, people are proactively reading this. So for example, the average editorial has something between 600 to 800 words. So people need around about 5 to 6 minutes to read the editorial. And people are investing their time to read more about your product. They invest the time to read more about your sales copy. And that's extremely valuable for you if you do it correct. Because here with the right copywriting, you can change or you can make a campaign very, very profitable with high CTRs, with high click-through rates and extremely high conversion rates. So people are reading here the advertorial and they read more about what your product is for, who it might help. They're also reading some general things like some conclusions, some trust factors and all that stuff. So they're reading all this kind of information. And that's super, super valuable because at the end of the advertorial, people can decide, no, I don't need this product because I might be not the audience or I don't have this issue now. Or people decide, yes, I'm definitely the audience and I definitely need this product. And if you do it correct, then you put in so much urgency that people say, I need this product now. And they will proceed to the next step. And the next step is usually not your checkout page, but your product page. This could be, for example, your Shopify page with also some further details. Important to understand this here is usually off-brand. So that means here people don't see anything of your brand. Of course, here in the copy inside, you will mention your brand and also link it and that kind of stuff. But the editorial itself looks like a third-party platform, which is neutral. You know, it's not like it doesn't look like an ad. People still think, okay, it's a recommendation of a newspaper, which is again extremely valuable because a third-party person tells, hey, your product is great. So if you're telling yourself, hey, my product is great, you know, people say, of course, it's your product, so what should you say? But in this case, people are like a third party source tells, hey, this product is great, it's our recommendation. And then people will think about it, hey, okay, it's super valuable and let me check it out. So people will check it out afterwards, come to the Shopify page, and then you know the process, people will add it to the cart and make the purchase. So you see, if you're familiar with, for example, meta ads, you might see the difference of the advertorial here, which is this part here. And by the way, I highly recommend you to run native ads just with an advertorial because we're talking here about a channel who is familiar or a traffic source where people are familiar with reading. So people like to read. People are on these news pages to read content. So provide them the information which they are familiar with, or not information, but a piece of content which they are familiar with. So that's extremely important, not to show them a VSL or that kind of stuff, but show them something to read. And it doesn't matter how long the editorial is. I told you here 600 to 800 words, it's just the average. But we also have editorials with just 400 words, and we also have editorials with 2000 words. So it's completely depending on the topic. In general, the rule of thumb is the more complex and the more health related, the longer the copy could be. Just in general, it's just a rule of thumb. At the end of the day, you have to test it. And now you might be wondering, okay, so this is the funnel, I understood it, but what's the magic of native ads? Because, you know, I already run Facebook ads, I already run TikTok ads, I already run Google ads. So why should I choose native ads now for my e-commerce store? It's just another investment, isn't it? And here the good news is, no, it's completely wrong. So the thing is, native ads doesn't make sense if you are spending, let's say, 5,000 euros or dollars per month in your media budget. In this case, Taboola and Outbrain is not the right channel for you. But if you're spending already 100K, 200K, 300K per month in your different traffic sources, then native ads can be the next step to more revenue and to more scalability. Let me explain you why. When we're talking about Facebook, for example, you're always reaching the same audience. And of course, you're reaching them again and again and again. But you know, it's like a turning cycle. You always reach the same audience. The same for TikTok and that kind of stuff. The big benefit of those social ad platforms is that they have a lot of information. So on Facebook, we all know you can use interest-based targeting, but also if you go broad, the algorithm will find the right sweet spot to deliver good results. However, there is a point sooner or later if it comes to scaling when the CPA explodes. So usually the CPA way looks like this. In the beginning, you have a low spending And also very low, let me just explain it here. And in the beginning, you also have very, very low CPAs. So the green line are my CPAs, my cost per acquisition. However, as soon as you scale your budget, that's the purple line, unfortunately, the CPA will also explode, which means usually you're not able to scale unlimitless on Facebook. And when I talk about unlimitless, there is always a limit, I got it. But in general, when you want to scale, it's very hard to scale profitably on Facebook with high ad budgets. Again, I'm not talking from 1 or 2K per day. I'm talking from larger ad budgets here. However, that's of course a problem, especially if you have to pay all the other stuff and especially if you have a very tight CPA goal. But on the other hand side, you have the big benefit of the very smart algorithm, because those companies are way larger, like Taboola and Outbrain. They have way more money, way smarter algorithms. All the stuff with targeting is not existing on native. And why is that? Because usually for platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, like TikTok, you have a user account. And the user account, or on your user account, at your user account, every information is saved. On native ads, or when it comes to native ads, we are talking about the open web. So there is no real information saved on a profile in the background or in a database. And native ads also doesn't have the big insights like Google, for example, because on Google, you might use Google without a profile, but in general, Google has a lot of website information, website data, which traffic sources like Taboola and Outbrain just doesn't have. So now we found out that you're always more or less fishing in the same lake here with social ads. As mentioned already, for native ads, you don't need a user profile. So the user doesn't need a profile like for Instagram. And you can reach there for a way larger audience, because there are still people in 2023 who doesn't use Instagram, who doesn't have a TikTok account and that kind of stuff. So there are still people outside who don't have an account. And these kind of people, you're, for example, reaching with native ads. And you see here already when we're talking about the audience, we are in general talking about a little bit an older audience. So if you compare it with TikTok, that's two extremes, it's like black and white. On the one hand side, you have TikTok with very young audience and very dynamic video content, very fast changing video content with a very high ad fatigue. And on the other hand side, you have native ads, which is kind of a dinosaur, but in a positive way, because you have a way larger reach. You can spend way more money. You're reaching way more persons out there. And of course, you have stable results. No snappy videos, no fast changing things. It's more relaxed, more stable on the other hand side. And you're reaching in general a more an older audience. So when I'm talking about the older audience, I mean people around about 35 plus, 40 plus, until 55, 65, 75, there are no limits. For example, you can sell things which are a good fit for people in their 40s, but you can also sell things for people like hearing aids in their 80s. But you usually cannot sell things which are for extremely young people when they're teenagers, like 19, 21, something like this. And due to the fact that you don't need an account, you reach also way more people, as already mentioned. So when this is social, you are reaching with the open web, which is native, way more people. And this is the large scaling potential which you have here. When we talk about scaling, what's the possibility here? What's the scaling potential? So it's easy possible with one product in one country to spend 40, 50K profitable. Important here is to understand that you need all the fulfillment processes working. You need all the stuff in the background, you need a winning offer and that kind of stuff. But as soon as you have it and as soon as you have already gathered the experience, this is doable. Again, it's not doable when you start today with native and if you press F5 and you want to see tomorrow the results. But if you run native already for a while, then it's definitely doable. A little bit of a negative point here on native is, I already mentioned it a little bit, that native needs more time. So when you start today, you will not see tomorrow or the day after tomorrow the first results. You need up to 3 months to see anything visible, to see any relevant KPIs here for you. The 3 months, of course, is just a rule of thumb. It can be faster, but in general, that's sort of more or less the worst case scenario to need 3 months. And native ads is more or less the most expensive channel out there which you can find. So when you are tight in budget, then native ads is definitely the wrong channel for you. Because, native ads is a scaling channel. It doesn't make sense to run native ads with just $5,000 per month. For this, the overhead and the whole funnel strategy is way too expensive. But it makes sense when you can invest 40, 50, 60K in native ads into traffic from Taboola or Outbrain, and of course always with the goal in the background to make it profitable. So to make money and not to lose money. That's the general rule here, of course. When you're thinking now, native ads sounds like a good fit for me, then let me say something. It's super important that you have a very broad product approach and a winning product approach. So I would not recommend you to start with native ads with a new shop. It's always the easier way to start with something like Facebook or Google and spend there a lot of money before you start with native ads. So first of all, use social ads, use Google for your store. Native ads is a scaling channel, not a testing environment. That's super, super important. Second thing is that you need the right product for the audience on native. As mentioned already, something for 18-year-old teenagers is the wrong product approach on native. It makes sense if you have a product which is for people who are something between 35 to 75, something like this. The third thing is that there is no targeting. So therefore you need a product, or in general a very broad product approach. So your product must be a good fit for the majority of people out there. So it doesn't make sense to run native ads for a very, very specific product, which just need, 200 people out there on this planet. But it makes sense if you have a very broad product approach. And if your product, just in theory, could need it by a lot of people out there, then native ads could make sense. And last but not least, just as a little disclaimer, I have an agency in native advertising, but my personal recommendation for you is not to run native ads by yourself. Why? Because native ads is a very complicated channel. You have to master many, many things. It starts from the setup with how you structure a funnel. It starts with the approaches. It starts with the technical setup, which is very complicated. You need third-party tools like a tracker. You need stuff to monitor everything. You need the right pixel implementation and that kind of stuff to track everything properly. But you also need the creativity and the knowledge how to structure an editorial, for example, how to make ads which will receive high CTRs. And afterwards, you also have to know about the media buying process. So you have to know which bids you set, because it's, there is no big algorithm in the background. You have to do a lot of things manually. It's not like on Facebook, which is just a creative game where you just upload UGC content and the algorithm will do the rest. No, that's definitely not the case. So it's a lot of manual work here in the background. And if you're setting some things wrong, you will spend $10,000 without seeing any result, just because of the wrong settlement here in the background. So therefore, my recommendation is, if you want to start with native ads, don't do it by yourself. Reach out for someone who has the experience in native ads. And also, if you pay them a lot of money, it will be definitely cheaper than trying it out and error here. So definitely, if you want to check out, do it with someone who is familiar with native ads. And if you're unsure if native ads is a good fit for you, then you're invited to find it out. Just click on our website, purple-black.com, and schedule a quick information call. We'll analyze your product, your shop, and we'll tell you if it is a good fit for native or not. And if not, we'll also tell you, because out of 10 requests, we have to decline 8 requests because the product or the company in general is not a good fit for native. So we'll definitely get this information also for us. It's not like a selling channel. It's more like give you feedback if it is a good product approach or not. And if yes, we can proceed. If not, better stay on other traffic platforms. I hope you liked that video. If so, I would extremely appreciate if you give me a thumbs up, and of course, when you subscribe to my channel to receive updates when I upload here a new video about native ads on YouTube. Have a good one. See you next time.